launch conductor in mission control. We pause at this moment in our countdown to remember and honor the lives of each of the participants on the Celestis Memorial Spaceflight. Their presence on this flight signifies a commitment to the opening of the space frontier shared by all of us. We wish the friends and families present today and all those who are with us in spirit all over the world Godspeed, good luck, and our thanks for allowing us to share this very personal time with you today. Elsie out. 5 vehicles armed, 3, 2, 1, fire. Missile away.
Oops. Once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another spaceflight briefing with Celestis Memorial Spaceflights. We've been doing this monthly, or occasionally, shall I say, to pretty much keep all of our viewers up to date as to our next upcoming mission that we will be flying this year from the Cape Canaveral here in Florida. I welcome all of the people that are in our comment area and like to tell them that if in fact there are any questions that you have, you can go ahead and type it as we speak here. We will be doing a Q&A as soon as we have an update briefing and a video we'd like to show you as well. But in the meantime, I see Mary is online here. Welcome, Mary. Good to see you. So without any further ado, I'd like to go ahead and introduce my boss, the fantastic Charles Schaefer. How are you today, Mr. Schaefer?
I'm doing very well, Mark. A little harried, but that's the business we're in.
Yeah, well, good to see you. There's a lot that we are going to cover today. There's a lot of questions that a lot of you people are going to already have. I see there are some few questions. You guys go ahead and type them in. And when we get to our Q&A session, we're going to go back to what you've typed in and get some answers from you. So the Heritage Flight, if you don't know, is our latest flight. Coming off of our Star Seekers flight that we had back in what was that, September, Charlie?
Yeah,
that was back in, September in the New Mexico desert. Very successful. It's fantastic. We really enjoyed it. And our next flight is coming up, and Charles is going to give us a little bit of an update on exactly what's going on with our next flight. Charles, before we do that, I'd like to ask something I probably haven't asked you before. After we've done a flight, do you get any emails or any correspondence from the families of some of our other passengers as to their experiences, their thanks? I mean, who knows, their displeasure? What do you get?
We get a lot of feedback. Good question, Mark. We get a lot of, first we get emails, and an awful lot of folks want to know, okay, now that this mission is over, when is my mission coming? But for the people who we flew, those who attended the launch or those who had to miss the launch but caught it on webcast, we hear from lots of folks. And almost universally, better than I expected, thank you, great, you fulfilled my dad's dream. Just, you know, one of the main reasons that we continue to do this is that we know how significant of a service we render. People really respond, and they know that our staff, most of whom have been with us really since we began, are really, it's a dedicated group. And so in many ways, they've joined the Celestis family. And even though their loved one has flown already, they continue to follow the missions, continue to follow us, continue to correspond with us over time. So we really, now that we're coming up on our 16th mission, we've got a big family.
That's great. It's nice to hear, because having been a part of the launches as well at the sites that we've had our launches. It's really, really impressive to see not only the execution on our part in terms of, you know, what we do here, but just visually looking at all the loved ones, knowing that, yes, we did it. We have succeeded. It's actually happening. It's actually occurring. And a numerous amount of tears that flow from that. And all of that being after, you know, the memorial service, and even before the memorial service, meeting these folks in person that we've always been corresponding with only on, you know, online and through emails and so on, and actually putting the faces to the names. It actually ends up becoming one big family before we actually go out to the launch site to launch, you know, their loved ones. It's fabulous. So I'm very blessed to be a part of this organization. I'm very blessed to have met a lot of the folks at previous launches. Some are now my Facebook friends. And it's just something that's really, really, what's the word I want to use? It's an experience. It's a mind-blowing, sometimes once in a lifetime experience. So let's move on to our next flight, which is Heritage, guys. Charles, what can you tell us about this?
I want to add one thing to what you said. For two things. First, we're happy that you joined our team. You bring a lot of ability to communicate and ability to connect with people, and people kind of naturally like you. And that's a real plus. Second thing I wanted to say was, it's not easy to do what we do. If you've seen some of these previous Facebook Live shows, I tell everybody I have a t-shirt that says "Space is hard," and then underneath it says "Being a secondary sucks." And, but it's better than any other alternative that's out there. And so we work hard on behalf of our families. And that's what makes it so great to finally be able to say, next up, the Heritage Flight. There are folks that have been waiting for a few years for this flight to occur, including us. But it's really such a pleasure to be able to give tonight an update and say, we're next. You know, been waiting for that.
Yeah, let me say something, and you can interject on exactly what you're talking about right now. There's been a lot of space activity. There's been a lot going on here at the Cape. I'm in Orlando, and I've watched already the last few flights that's gone up from my front door. But there's been a lot of activity going on, and a lot of this really involves us. Everything that we see that's being launched up has a direct, connection with what we're doing. So tell me, what's going on, Charles?
Well, for those of you that haven't been glued to the space activity that Mark describes, a few weeks ago, April 11th, not too many weeks ago, the second launch of the Falcon Heavy rocket occurred. And that's the launch that cleared the decks for us, because we are on the third flight of the Falcon Heavy rocket. Our host, as everybody knows, is the OTB satellite, which stands for Orbital Test Bed satellite. It's built by a company called General Atomics, who acquired the company that originally built it, Surrey Satellite US. And on board that satellite, still residing in Denver, Colorado, are 157 flight capsules, Celestis flight capsules, representing, I think it's 161 individuals. The reason for the disparity is we have one service called the Gemini service where two people fly together. That spacecraft is now getting ready to be shipped to Cape Canaveral for our launch. The plan is to ship that satellite approximately May 15th. It might be May 16th. And when that spacecraft leaves Denver en route to the Cape, that's the clearest indication at that point that we really are next up to fly. Everybody wants to know about the schedule for our launch, and I can say we can't tell you. Not because we wouldn't, but because we don't know it yet officially. There have been some news stories out there that says the launch date for our mission, and by the way, our mission is called the STP-2 mission. It's an Air Force mission, and on board the Air Force rocket are 23 distinct satellites. We're but one of 23 satellites. So all those satellites will be shipped down there, integrated onto the vehicle, rolled out for a launch. The date that we currently have on our website says not earlier than June 22nd. There's a couple things to note about that. That's a really quick turnaround from April 11th to June 22nd, particularly because they are using the same two outside boosters on the rocket that flew on April 11th. So they have to be refurbished, made ready for flight, and then integrated into what they call the stack, ready to launch. June 22nd is a pretty good planning date, but it's not good enough yet for us to say, make your hotel reservations, make your airline reservations, be prepared to come and see us. For those of you that pre-registered, and I have to say that we're now nearing 600 people having pre-registered.
Wow.
Now, not everybody will make it because there are vagaries and launch and what have you. But for those of you that have pre-registered to attend, and for all of our primary contacts, and those of you who are that know that, but what that means is you're the person on the contract that we hold who is identified as the person that we keep informed about launch dates. So if you're pre-registered or you're a primary contact, you'll start to receive a steady stream of communications from us the moment there is an official launch date set. When might that be? It might be as early as this week. And again, that's what we're hearing from our sources down in Florida at the Cape, that the official date may be set as early as this week. And it might be June 22nd. It might be later than that. But what we do is we take as gospel what our host satellite tells us, which is the OTB folks. When they say we have been notified that the launch date is X, that's when we spring into action and we go into a communication mode with you. What does that communication mode look like? The first thing we do is we always update our website, the HeritageFlight page on Celestis.com first. So we don't do anything before we've updated the website. Second thing we do is we send out an email to all of our pre-registrants and all of our primary contacts. We rely on primary contacts and pre-registrants to get the word out to everybody else. Now, some people, there's one other category of people that we communicate with, and those are people that have come to our website and put in their name and contact information and say, keep me apprised of the launch schedule. So if you've done any of those, if you're pre-registered, if you're primary contact, or if you've sent us your email and it's current, again, it's up to you to keep us informed when you move or change emails. You'll receive, after we've posted the date on the website, you'll receive an email from us saying, okay, we've got an official date. Here is the information on how you register with us. And that will be probably a two-phased effort. And let me explain that, and I appreciate everybody's patience. The first thing we'll do is we'll tell you make your hotel reservations, because in all cases, that's what fills up first down near the launch site. So right now we have blocked 50 rooms at a hotel, and it's near 2 other hotels. So we think that we'll be able to communicate, here's your code, here's how you register at our hotel, do it now. And we will fire off that email as quickly as we can. And the reason for that is A, it's cancelable. I think the hotels have different cancellation policies, but certainly you can go up to about 72 hours before launch and still cancel. So you have your place in line, but you haven't put any non-refundable money anywhere to go to that hotel. And second, and more importantly, we do that because, as I said, the hotels fill up really fast, particularly for these big launches. I think most people know that the Falcon Heavy rocket is the largest operational rocket in the world right now. So they get a lot of people coming down there to watch it take off. So the first thing we'll do, change the website, send you an email. The email will say, here's the information for registering at the hotel, do it. And don't take it lightly when you get that, if you're planning on attending. That's really important. After that, shortly thereafter, we'll come back to you and say, here are your viewing options, here are the events, here's the schedule, all of those kinds of things. And at a certain point, it will be good for you to go ahead and make your airline reservations as well. We won't give you an exact date on when to do that. We'll tell you when we've done that, but everybody's kind of got a little bit different philosophy on that. The one thing I will say is don't purchase non-refundable tickets, because even when the launch date is set, as you saw with the most recent, well, with almost any launch, they have a tendency to move a little bit and they never go earlier. So what we've said to you in your email that you got from us about pre-registration was you need to kind of build, if you want to be sure that you're there for it, you need to have some flexibility in your travel schedule. I know that's perhaps not ideal for you. That's part of the being a secondary sucks existence, but it's just the way space launches are run. I've quoted now on every broadcast gentleman that I worked for years, Deke Slayton, one of the original Mercury astronauts, who always said NASA gives out no awards for on-time failures. So in fact, attending this launch will be pretty amazing. I've heard that it will be a night launch, and seeing the rocket take off against the black sky, if it is in fact a night launch, and if in fact they recover the boosters, you'll see a show that you'll remember the rest of your life, especially because your loved one is on board. So,
hey, Charles, can I add something to that?
Sure.
I've seen night launches, and they are truly the most spectacular way you could see a rocket leave Cape Canaveral. It is a religious moment. It is unbelievable, and I did not know that we possibly may be, this will be a night launch. That is the biggest gift to all of these. So just wanted to add my 2 cents to that. Sorry, Charles.
Well, and we'll know when the official date is set, you'll get a launch window. And again, it's currently a night launch, but everything's subject to change.
Yes.
Let me just say that again.
Understood.
It gets, it seems a little mysterious right now, but believe me, having done many of these over the years, it's really all fuzzy until it's absolutely clear and you're standing there and you're watching it take off. So just to remind everybody, it'll be 3 days worth of events. And the way that we're trying to do it is to make sure that if you are coming and you're on a very tight budget, that you have an opportunity to participate in our memorial service, and you have an opportunity to see the launch from one of the public viewing sites, which will help you find. If you're planning on coming with the large group, we've been told that we'll be able to host you at the Kennedy Space Center, one of the viewing sites there. The Kennedy Space Center charges admission. We'll make it known what those costs are. And if you want to do that, and again, it's pretty amazing to get right on the Kennedy Space Center and see the launch, we'll make that easy for you. But day one will be show up and register. Day two will be attend the memorial service, attend the hosted astronaut dinner. Day three, the way it's looking, will be in the early part of the day, go tour the Kennedy Space Center, and then in the evening, see the launch. That may change. The tour may go into day two. It all depends on the launch schedule. And I realize a lot of this is up in the air. I'm telling you what I know. And also I'm telling you that pay attention to us, and we will affirmatively find you and reach out to you and let you know everything that we know once we know it. So I think I've probably exhausted that topic, and perhaps our viewers as well. So now might be a good time, Mark, to roll the video. We're fortunate in that there is now an animation that's been put out of our launch, what our launch will look like, what the STP-2 launch will look like. Mark's going to roll that. Pay attention to the following things. The first thing is you'll notice that there are 3 separate deployments of satellites on this mission at 3 different orbital locations, which is pretty amazing. OTB, which comes in at about 1 minute and 27 seconds into the video, don't blink your eyes, but OTB, we are part of the second deployment. And you'll see up in the upper left-hand corner OTB, and then you see it spin out into space. And that's what it will look like when we fly. But the video itself is a pretty good collection of what you're going to see. So,
and if I may add, I'll keep the volume down a little low. There's music. It's just no narration on the video, but we're going to hopefully have Charles tell us a little bit about what we're seeing as the video is played. So if everybody's ready, grab all your children around the screen here right now, and everybody, we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a look of what it is you will not be able to see, but the animation will tell you a lot. So here you go.
So it's
stand by. Yeah.
Standard Falcon Heavy liftoff with 27 engines firing. There you see the side movement separating and returning. You will see that. I watch to show you. So the separation of the side movement, turn to base. Continuing on now, that 4 stage has burned out. It will return to a drone step, just like the previous Falcon Heavy model. Then you have the ejection stage firing. Now the shroud has gone on and all the satellites. So we're at probably first orbital height or altitude. You see a satellite called an Oculus separating, and then you'll see some CubeSats separating. And this is at the lowest of the 3 orbits. I don't know what the exact altitude of that is. Then there's a relight of the engine, and we're going to a higher orbit where additional satellites are released. And you see Rox 1, NPSat, OTB, that's us, there we go. Then Cosmic 2. Which I believe is the Taurus satellite, or satellites, the fleet. Then a relight of the engine yet again to get to the highest orbit, and the release of additional satellites, DSX, 3-hour coast.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I guess I'm going to go ahead and present some questions for people. If you, once again, viewers, those that are watching us, especially those that are watching us for the first time, go ahead and type in your questions that you may have right now. Charles and our team will be reading your questions. I'll put them up on the screen as well, and we'll provide you with the answers to things you've always wondered. But just to recap on what we just saw, and I'm going to go ahead and play that at the end as we leave our broadcast in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and replay that again, so people can get an idea of once the rocket goes through our atmosphere and out into orbit, we're going to give you an animation of exactly what you would see if you were in fact hovering out there in a spacesuit out in orbit and you see the rocket goes by. So Charles, I wanted to ask, this is the Falcon Heavy. So that portion that is being ejected, and excuse me for lack of better terms here, there's going to be a series of separations that we saw in the beginning of that, where you saw this dart that was pretty much flying out there in orbit, and then it separates. Would we know exactly, and I don't know if you said it or not, do we know exactly at what time, let's say, I don't know, after launch, that our families will be ejected out into the beautiful interstellar atmosphere, shall I say?
The answer is we will know that. We don't have that information yet, but we'll have that in a timeline, and it'll also be called out by the mission managers as they separate the various spacecraft. So when OTB is released, everyone will know that.
And you said there are, what did you say, 23 or 32 satellites that are being released? 23
satellites.
Okay, and out of the 23 satellites, will Mission Control, where we are watching, viewing, will they categorically announce what satellites have launched?
I'm pretty sure they will. They do that currently.
Okay, and we don't know what number we stand in that listing yet.
No, we don't have that information.
Okay, but we will have that information during lunch.
We will, yes.
Excellent.
I mean, I know it's known, and the only thing that would limit that is, this is an Air Force mission. Some of the satellites may in fact be classified. I don't think they are. Okay. The orbits may be something that they don't want to announce. So that'll be a homework assignment for us. It's a good question.
Okay, and we have a bunch of questions that are coming up online. And once again, folks, if you're watching this broadcast, you are more than welcome to ask any question that you like, and we will try our best to answer anything that you put up on the screen. I'm going to try, and you guys can't see my board here, but I have to scroll all the way down because once we started our broadcast, questions started pouring in. So I really have to scroll all the way down to the bottom. And this is your first question right here. And Rami asked, how many people per capsule?
Typically, there is one individual's symbolic portion of that person's cremated remains per flight capsule. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a service that we call the Gemini service, which is a larger capsule, and that's designed to fly two people, husband and wife, brother and sister, whatever. And we have a few of those. I don't remember the exact number on this flight, but in general, one capsule, one person.
Okay, very good. One capsule per person. And Essie, let's see what you have here. Essie says, for the Heritage flight, do we have to pay a fee to watch the launch? Will Celestis have a specific area for us to watch? Do we go as a group in a bus? So there's three there, I see.
So, yeah, it's good. So if you choose to view the launch from the grounds of the Kennedy Space Center with the majority of people, there will be a fee attached to it. The Kennedy Space Center Visitor Center charges. And that will be through bus transportation. If you decide, well, that's not for me, there are literally hundreds of viewing locations near the launch site where the public will gather. And we'll be happy to tell you, because we have people that live there and know, where some of the best free sites are. But the free sites have parking challenges and crowd things, and it won't be everybody together. We will provide the opportunity for everyone to travel via bus to the launch viewing location at the Kennedy Space Center. There will be a fee associated with that, and that fee is set by the Kennedy Center, and they've not yet told us what that amount will be, but we'll pass it on. I should note that they've pretty much sold out the first two Falcon Heavy launches, so we've reserved enough to have you there if you decide that you want to come with us.
And if I could emphasize the fact that we would really, really love to see all of you with all of us, because it is something you need to experience as a group. And like Charles had mentioned, there are numerous areas around the Cape for every viewing area. I see it from my front door, but I have gone out and to various locations that are free of charge. If you could find parking or anything of that nature, it is a gamble to find a good spot, especially for a very, very important launch like the ones that we're hosting. But I would think the best experience you could have with all of this is to stick with us. Okay, just be with us, and you will see something you probably will never see again. Joe asked here, can this be included with military funerals?
I'm not sure I understand the question. If the question is, can you use your VA funding for this service? The answer is, I'm not sure about that. We are a post-cremation memorial service, and I believe the funding from VA pays for the cremation, but not the post-cremation memorial service. Having said that, probably 30 to 40% of our participants have a military background and are flying with that military background. And in fact, as you'll see, we even have a couple of people on the Heritage Flight who gave their lives for the country, for their country in Afghanistan, and were active military when they lost their life, and they're on our flight. Hope that answers that question.
Okay. All right. And Joe, if you're not, satisfied with the answer, try us again, and maybe we'll have an added, if not different answer for you on that. So hope that came close to what you were thinking about. Joyce asked, how do I change the number attending with the change in date? Joyce is from Halifax, PA. Hey, I was up in Philly this weekend, Joyce. So how do I change the number attending with the change in date, Charles?
When you register, so pre-registration was just sort of a ballpark number, and people gave us their numbers, and that's how I can tell you we have nearly 600 folks pre-registered. I know that that number will not be how many people attend. It might be more, it might be less. The time to do that is when you register for the mission. And as I mentioned, if you've pre-registered, you'll get a notice from us saying, okay, now it's time to register. And the reason that we did it that way is because when we did pre-registration, we didn't have a launch date. We will not start registration until we have a launch date. So you'll be able to do that during the registration process.
All right. I just want to point this out, say hello to Jerry here. Jerry says a big warm hello to all the people of the world watching this from Bixby Knolls, Long Beach, California. Peace and happiness. Thank you very much, Jerry. And you know, why don't you check our website if you haven't already? This may be a service you or anyone else you know may be interested in the future. So check us out a little bit more. I need to pan up because I know our team always posts things such as this that I can't see because I'm scrolled down to the bottom. Our team says we have participants on board this flight that gave their life in Afghanistan, like you said, Charles. We are honored to have our military on board. Also, when you register, you can let us know your number of attendees. That is very, very important, folks. Make sure we know exactly the number of people that are attending. I know some of you guys might get information at the last minute, mainly because we don't have a solid date for you. So, you know, once a date comes through, people might say, oh, now I can go. I'm off that day or whatever. Regardless of whoever is trying to latch on board, just make sure that we have the information that is necessary so that we can include them in our registration. Let's see what else. I gotta scroll back down to the bottom again here. Let's see. All right, I am close. Let's see what do we got here. All right, here we go. Lauren Ray. Hello, Lauren. Do you know what prices range for hotels?
I've got a sense, and let me say that they're very responsive to the market, so that when they know there's a big event, what a shock! Some of the hotels raise their prices.
Right.
But I think you should assume that right near the Kennedy Space Center, they're going to be in the $160 to $180 range. Mm-hmm. If you're a little further away, which means you'll have to drive further to attend the events, you might be able to find lower price ones. And of course, you can always find higher price ones. Our target, I believe, is around $180 per night.
Okay, let's see. Oh, here's a response from my friend Tori, who is big in the space program, has attended a number of space events out there. The most recent one was I forget the name of it, but it was Yuri, the first astronaut in space. They did a party on that. But Tori says, just FYI, the last launch was between 100 to 200, depending on where you watch from at KSC. I don't think she's talking about hotel rates.
Right, that's the rate that KSC charges. And I think that's accurate. I would say between $75 and $200 is going to be the range that we're hearing. We're going for a group rate. I don't know if that will help us or not, but that's for viewing on the Kennedy Space Center property.
Right. Understand. Okay. I see. I'm skipping here a bit. Sorry, folks. It says here, Jerry Fletcher. Hello, Jerry. Are there handicapped viewing areas at the Space Center?
Yeah, they're used to accommodating handicapped folks, both in the buses that take you out to it and in the areas that are the official viewing areas. We aren't the first to bring handicapped folks to a launch. So
Yes.
again, if you're going with us, we will have worked closely to make, and that's part of the questions that we'll be asking you during registration, so that we can provide a number to the hosts at Kennedy Space Center. How many do we need to accommodate?
Yep, sounds good. Okay, and I see Sharon has something here. Trying to get a hold of you, Sharon. Bear with me here. There you go. Sharon, if we can't be at the launch in person, can we watch the launch live somehow? And will a DVD be available for those with family members on board? Excellent question. Excellent.
Yeah, good question. So not only, well, the launch itself will be webcast by, I don't know how many services. SpaceX will do it. Spaceflight Now will do it. NASA Spaceflight will do it. Space.com will do it. So the launch itself, it'll be hard to miss. We also will webcast the memorial service on our Celestis site, so that you'll be able, if you can't come to the launch, you'll be able to participate in the memorial service webcast as well as the launch cast. We always include a professionally produced video of the 3-day events in the package for people that have purchased the package for their loved ones. So we had been doing DVDs. Our experience has been that most people don't even have DVD players anymore. So what we do is we post the video on our YouTube channel and welcome you to download it or do whatever you want to. We will print you a DVD if you ask, and I believe the charge on that is $12. But you get the opportunity to view the whole thing. It'll be, usually we try to do it within a couple of months after the event, but it will be we do good videos, and as a result, it takes some time to produce them, but that will be available. So to summarize, the launch will be, you have your choice of where to watch it. The memorial service, we will webcast, and the professionally produced video will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And if you wish to order a DVD, we can send you one.
This is probably a good idea to go ahead and talk a little bit about our YouTube channel. If you guys want some idea of exactly how the memorial services go, because the launches are all different. We use different rockets, different size rockets, and different locations. So don't base that video on what's upcoming for the Heritage Flight. In fact, if you've been keeping up with SpaceX and their Falcon Heavy and all the news just surrounding this incredible rocket, this might be, or I'm pretty sure this will be our greatest one ever, purely because of the size of the rocket itself. So any of the videos that you watch on our YouTube page, just bear in mind, okay, that we are on a Falcon X. We are on a Falcon X Heavy. Okay, so it's going to be a fantabulous flight. Okay, more questions are holy moly.
Let me add to that. If you go to the channel, you'll see that we have, in our years of offering these services, we've flown to date on Pegasus, Taurus, Athena, Falcon 1, Falcon 9, Spaceloft XL, soon to be Falcon Heavy. Rockets have propelled us on our missions.
Right, very good point on that we do use various rockets. Jim wants to know, where is the memorial service held, Charlie?
Well, it's a good question, and we'll let you know when we announce the launch date. We have a location reserved, but just to let you know how hard we work for everybody, it works perfectly on one date. The next night, an Air Force general is retiring, and we couldn't do it there. The following night, we could do it there. So we're not announcing the location of that, but it will be in the Port Canaveral, Cocoa Beach, Cocoa area. The last time we flew out of Cape Canaveral, we actually rented the auditorium in Old Cocoa. which was a kind of a cool place right next to the river, and conducted the memorial service there. But we will let you know when we put the registration information up. But it will be right in that near KSC location. We looked at it outside, but everybody tells me that late June in Florida, nobody wants to be outside. So,
yeah, late June. That's the downfall about living in the state that we do get intensive heat. That's probably a good segue into prep, and we'll prep you really, really heavily once we get close to the launch. But I want everyone to keep in mind that you're coming to my state. You're coming to Florida in June. Okay, it's hot. In fact, this weekend we're looking close to 90 degrees this weekend. It's going to be in the mid to high 90s for this entire week. It's been beautiful today, but this early on, already being near 90 degrees. Pete, please prepare yourself for June. So here we go with more questions. Stand by, Charles. Oh, yes, Marty, I put this up. She says she thinks her nephew is on this flight, Joshua Rossignol. So, are you familiar with that name, Charlie?
I have to confess that I don't know that.
That's fine. You're the boss. That's why you have other people that handle this kind of logistic.
What I can say to Marty is send us an email at cs1@celestis.com. cs1@celestis.com, and we will answer your question. The other way to check is if your nephew, whoever the primary contact is, if they've sent us your nephew's biographical information, you can go to our website, celestis.com, go to the Heritage. Okay. All right. She checked.
Awesome, Marty. Awesome.
So now we know. And welcome. And we're happy to provide the service for your nephew.
I love the 3 exclamation points behind it. So good job on that. Okay. Wow. Oh boy. Stand by, Charlie. Here's one. Oren asked, it may have already been asked, but is there a limit of the number of guests? Good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. And up until recently, I said no. There's not.
You did. I remember. Yeah.
I may have to eat my words a little bit. We don't know. We don't want to impose any limit, but and we're able to accommodate almost everybody. It's purely a function of what sells out, and the things that can sell out are the hotel rooms or access to the Kennedy Space Center. And those will be the limiting factors on who can attend. Now, you can come and stay in Titusville or Merritt Island. They probably won't sell out the hotels, and see the launch from a public location. But the best thing to do is register early. We know we can accommodate at least 350 folks. We know that. So
what was that 600 number that you had mentioned before?
The number of people who pre-registered with their interest in attending. But honestly, my experience over the years is that will get cut by half when it actually gets the launch date set. If it doesn't, we're going to move heaven and earth to accommodate everyone that we can.
Right.
And we don't own hotels in Florida, and we don't own the Kennedy Space Center. And so we're working, and they're both the hotels and the Kennedy Space Center are glad to have us, but they're all on a first come, first served basis. So get your reservations in early and don't worry about it, would be my advice. And I'm not doing that to hype anything. Because as I said, we will move heaven and earth to accommodate you. We want everybody that wants to come to be able to, but we've been a little bit blown away with the response so far.
Right. And if no one's really familiar with the area, it takes me approximately less than 45 minutes to get to the Cape from where I am. And I'm a little higher up. But the B line, which is the 528, we'll give you a little bit more details later about that, so I'm not going to go too in depth in it. I-Drive, International Drive area, there's a ton of hotels, right. 45 minutes or less, 35 minutes less from where we'll be launching. So if you're out of luck, you can always go back down into the SeaWorld area for hotel locations. And
but when you do that, be sure you leave early on launch.
Yes,
because there will be traffic.
All right.
So, hopefully everybody that wants to come will figure out. We will work with you and figure out a way to get you there.
Excellent. Okay. I already know the answer to this, but Charlie, you want to go ahead and answer it?
Yeah, the answer is yes. In fact, so the question, can the launch be seen from the hotels? You betcha. But I would
go ahead.
Go out to the beach and watch it from there, because you'll get a clearer view and you'll be able to see the if they choose to re-land the boosters, you'll see them come back in as well. Now, those are farther away looks than what we're going to provide at the Kennedy Space Center. You can see as Mark said, you can see the launch from Orlando. So,
I see every launch, especially when the shuttles were going off. Those were the best launches. They're incredible. But I see every launch from my house, and like I said, I'm about 45 minutes from the Cape, and I film it. I can see the flumes, I can see rocket separation, but there's nothing like being there, because I don't get the feeling, I don't get the sound of an actual launch, which is deafening and something that you should experience. So yes, you can see them from your hotel, especially if you're down in the I-Drive area, but it's nothing like being there.
Well, and the other thing is, and I don't want to make less of this, is it's great to see it with hundreds of people from all over the world who've come to be part of this particular memorial service event. When you're standing 2 to 3 miles away, about 3 to 4 miles away from the launch, which is as close as you can get, you know your loved one is on board there. It's just an unbelievable feeling. And then when you know that there are hundreds of people around you with the same vibe, if you will, the same fulfillment, the same emotions, it's pretty cool.
Is that your Mission Impossible bomb timer going off, I heard in the background there?
Trying to call me, and I didn't reach quickly enough to my
Well, we're getting close to the end, guys, here, but we still have questions, so let's go through them quickly. Essie says, is there a separate fee for the memorial service?
No, the memorial service is zero cost. You can come to that at no cost.
Excellent. And Lauren says, I asked earlier, but want to make sure it doesn't get lost, but are children allowed at all parts? Well, I guess you meant all parts of the event, or I guess that's what she means there.
Yes. I have seen, I can't remember if I've seen infants when I viewed launches at the Kennedy.
I've never seen any either myself.
But I know that they're, it's the Kennedy Space Center. It's like Disneyland. There are tons of kids there. We'll have the information on that when we make our final agreement with Kennedy Space Center. We'll have the scrub policy. We'll have all of those policies, which we handicap access. We'll share all of those things. Certainly for any event that we're in charge of, we welcome children.
And to remind people, this broadcast will be on our Celestis Facebook page and our YouTube page for viewing at a later date. So this is not the last time. If you want to revisit any of the questions and the answers that go along with it, you can watch this again at any time that you want. Aaron says again, will it be first come, first serve? What? How? Charles?
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, it has to be in terms of, we don't know. Again, the people that we're informing are the first people that get informed are the primary contacts for the participants. So if you're in that line, you will have the first chance to register. Beyond that, it will be first come, first serve. But again, let me just say there's multiple ways to view this, and I don't really expect that we will turn people away, but I really feel obligated to let you all know about those aspects of this event that we don't control.
Excellent. Okay. Hey, Ed, thanks for that. He said, this is amazing, guys. We are blessed to be a part of this operation. So looking forward to be part of this journey. Okay. Wow. Let's see. Outstanding service. Barbara had launched another one of her loved ones on one of our previous flights. She's saying, outstanding service. What a beautiful, amazing, unforgettable experience. And obviously, Barbara is still remembering it. Thank you so much, Barbara. I agree. It is great to be among others experiencing the memorial launch at the viewing site and the memorial itself. So that should be good. Essie, again, will the rocket be launching from a specific special launch pad?
Yeah, it's called Pad 39A.
39A.
And it was the location for Apollo launches and space shuttle launches. You'll see multiple launches have occurred from 39A.
So you will be watching your loved ones launching from a historic site. So that's great. Thank you, bro. You're welcome, Lauren. Let's see. Yes, the whole family. You may want to bring ear. Oh, yes. Good. Very good, Celestis. Ear protection. Even if you don't think you need it, have it available. There are various types of ear protection. Make sure they handle the appropriate decibel. I'm sure you can go on Google and see what the decibel of a rocket launching is. Make sure you don't get anything less than what those decibels are posted. Do you know what the decibel is at all, Charles?
I don't, but we're far enough away that it's more a body shaking rumble that you feel. And that's what's kind of cool. You actually see the sound waves coming at you across the lagoon that's in front of you before the sound hits you. And the way it works, because it is a few miles away, you see the boosters light up. You hear nothing for a while. And then you see the sound waves coming across the lagoon. You still don't hear anything. And then all of a sudden, a low rumble, a pop, pop, pop. And, well, no, these aren't solid, so this will be a low rumble. I don't think there's going to be a decibel issue, but it is a moving experience.
Well, they did say that there was also, oh my God, not thunderclaps. What's wrong with me today? When it breaks into the atmosphere, say it again.
Sonic booms. There'll be several sonic booms as stuff re-enters. But again, it's more like boom, and it's not ear breaking. What you will want to bring, depending upon launch time, is sun protection. Things.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely, guys. Just imagine you're at the beach. Okay, so dress appropriately. Sunscreen, zinc, whatever you use. Just imagine you are coming to the beach in June. Okay,
and you know, even though it's a night launch, because of traffic, we'll be there several hours before the night launch.
Right. And that's what I'm pointing at. Yeah.
You need, and again, I promise we'll have all this stuff when we send it.
Sure. Hello, Cindy. Cindy says, I know my mother. Oh, I lost it. Okay. I know my mother, Modine Johnson, who is on the Heritage Flight, will be so excited for her launch date. She loved to travel, and I can't wait to see her embark on her final flight. Bless your heart, Cindy, and it's a pleasure for us to offer this service for you. It's really nice. Modine Johnson, excellent. All right, let's go to this one real quick. My question was regarding number of participants. Thanks for the answer. Hi, Lindsay. Okay, so I guess we can you remind us again how many people are flying on this flight on the Heritage Flight?
We have 157 capsules. I know that. I don't remember how many of them are Gemini. I believe it's 161 participants.
Wow, 161, and that is not your largest group that you've flown, correct?
No, on the previous Falcon 9 launch, which was the first commercial resupply mission to the space station, we had 330 folks on that flight.
330, wow. I can imagine what that memorial service was like.
Well, I actually think we'll have a bigger crowd here.
Yeah, it's the question, and I think we're close to I think this is the last question that I have. We'll give you 2 seconds to punch everything in, guys, and then we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast. But Matt, no worries, dude. You can watch this entire broadcast again on our Celestis Facebook page. He says, sorry that we jumped on late, but has the launch date been confirmed? And this is probably a great ending question because it's reconfirming to folks exactly when to expect.
So the answer is no, it's not an official launch date. There is an unofficial launch date floating around that the people that are hosting us, the General Atomics OTB satellite, are working to, and that unofficial date is June 22nd. However, the launch date will be set by the Air Force. Originally, that date for setting the date was going to be Wednesday. My understanding is that that's been pushed back a little bit, and so it may be later in the week before we have the launch date, the official launch date. Let me say 2 things about that. One is once you get it, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's cast in concrete and you need to stay in touch with us. But secondly, the minute we have an official date, which means the Air Force has told General Atomics Corporation, we're going to launch your satellite on this date, we'll be in touch with you. If you are the primary contact, if you have for the contract that we're flying the loved one for, if you have pre-registered for Heritage Flight, or if you have registered to receive mission updates, we will outreach to you and notify you when that happens. But it's imminent. It's just not today.
Okay. So once again, you can watch this again. You can show this to any, maybe I ought to get on camera here. You can show this to any family member who could not attend this briefing. This is not the last briefing. We may beef this up a little bit more, maybe bi-monthly as opposed to monthly.
Well, that's a good point. Can I?
Yes, please, Charles, please.
So we will ramp our pace of communication as we reach closer to the launch date. And we'll use not only Facebook Live, but also emails. You can always call us. And we may, in the past, when we got really close, we had an 800 number call-in meeting that we gave out and people could ask via that route, because not everybody is on Facebook, but everybody wants to understand what it is. So what we'll do is we're talking about going to, instead of 1 Facebook Live event per month, at least for May and part of June, we might do 2, but we will ramp our communications with you. And I see Matt thanking us, and the response is you're very welcome. We're just pleased as we can to serve all the folks. You know, I've been doing this for 22 years now, 16 missions, and it doesn't get old.
It not only does it get old, but you think it would get easier. It kind of does get easier just based on experience, but we always come across unforeseen circumstances, especially the schedule, which we try our best to convince people that we're only tethered to NASA's schedule. We can't tell them when we want to go. Okay, it's based on all of the circumstances that, and you've heard of scrubs from other missions in the past, and they just don't risk anything when they feel it is not the proper time to launch. So there may be a little bit of disappointment, confusion, sometimes some slight anger that their loved ones haven't been launched yet. Trust us, it's not us, okay? We are under the guidance and the controls of the guys that have the finger on the button. Go ahead,
I would say stay flexible. It's worth it.
Exactly. All righty. All right. On behalf of myself and Charles Schaefer here, and I'm trying to post up a few issues here that our company is doing. We thank all of you guys for being a part of this, for joining us, for having the patience actually to sit in for an hour and listen to us banter about something that we just love so dearly, because it's a service. Not only is it a service that we provide to you, but the more we experience space, the more we get to understand what it is we need to do the next time. So This is one of them circumstances, and we're happy about that. For those that did not see the video that we had after Charles' initial briefing, we're going to show that to you guys right now. And basically, it explains to you in animation what it is you won't be able to see from the ground. So I hope you enjoy this. Since there won't be any narration included in it,
But
bear
the
in mind
OTB
that,
satellite, if I may, the OTB.
yes, please, Charles, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say the OTB satellite gets deployed as part of the second cluster of satellites at about 1 minute and 27 seconds into the video. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. Keep your eyes open on our Facebook page for the date of our next broadcast. We thank you so much. Do not stop your questions, okay? Constantly ask so that we may answer. And you do that via our Facebook page, website, telephone call, whatever. You want to speak to us personally, we will definitely pick up the phone for you. We want to make this a memorial, memorable, not memorial, but memorable experience for you and your loved ones and anyone that you have brought along to share in this magnificent venture. Please share this video. We thank you guys so much. We will be talking to you soon. Thank you, Charles. Really appreciate it.